they got into the elevator together and they finally had it out. Where he was just like, just arguing with the guy and saying, "You steal all my ideas. Like, you don't give me any of the credit. Like, you go and you take up all the glory. Da da da." He's like, I go to bed thinking about you every night and how much I want to, like, I want to kill you. And then Don Draper just looks at him and goes, "I don't think about you ever." And it's like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah, that hurts harder really than anything else.
Yeah, it's just
It's
like
the fact that they pay you no never mind, but they occupy so much time in your mind that.
And it's
Yeah.
like that blows. And trying to find a work situation where that's not the case, like, you start looking out for it. Like you can sense it when you've got like a bad situation. I worked in other radio stations since, and I've done that. Like, I'm working at Indy now, and it's a great relationship with all those guys. It's completely different. It's it's one of those things where you just become almost shell shocked from how bad it was. And I mean, like I was telling you earlier, it's not a situation that would happen now. Hopefully it's not continuing to happen now, but the fact that we're calling it out, I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
But
it especially sucks too if it's in like your dream career too. Like this is something you're super passionate about, because you're all that more liable to stay and put up with it. If it's like this, it's like an abusive relationship with a hot model or something. You want to stick around, but it's like, man, but I'm getting the shit beaten out of me or something. Like, yeah. So it sucks because it's something you really want to pursue, but at the same time you're getting fucked every left turn.
I'd say it was kind of worse on my end because like I was getting paid significantly less. Like. And that was 5 years that I was there. Like, I didn't get paid for the internship, which, okay, fine, I get. I never made more than $10 an hour. Never.
No, I know. It was ridiculous. It was one of those things where he was getting road crew money, and he was doing, the work. When I started, like, the morning show I was on had a staff of 9 people, and that was considered a skeleton crew. Okay, they had 3 writers on that show. 3 writers!
Jesus Christ, man.
Just paid. And they, had houses out in the suburbs. Like, nice ones. Like, these guys were, old comedians, guys that never quite, cut out on their own, but still had like a big thing, or had a big name in Boston. Like, these guys lived a really good life, working for this radio station. And by the time that we got there, like, Andrew was being paid minimum wage and crushing things. Now, like, the idea that I would even have an assistant, like, that I would have another producer, or there'd be 2 producers on a show, is laughable. All right? Like I said, Kenny's now doing the night jock. He's the night jock and the morning producer. Like, that's crazy. That's insane. They used to have shows on every day part. The consolidation and the loss of jobs in radio as everybody floods and goes anywhere else, and staying away from radio is one of those things. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never been addicted to heroin, and thank God I won't be. At least, I don't plan on trying it until at least I'm at least 70, and then I say, okay, fine. After that,
nothing's off the table. It's
nothing. I mean, everything else is gonna. Like, the wheels are gonna come off no matter what. So
you gotta have goals, Bruce.
I'm playing with house money at that point. Like, so I'm like, all right. I've never like tried heroin, but it's stupid when you think about, the fact that we want to get back into that business. Like, especially with all the other options that are out here now. Like, the podcasting thing is a great way of doing it. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not like a podcast guy, obviously, but like, I don't listen to them. No offense. I listen to ones that people recommend to me here and there, but you can do tremendous things with a podcast. I know how powerful they can be, and they can be way more powerful than radio is, and have been. Like, radio, for all its faults, is still going to be around in 100 years, because there's always going to be that hyper-local, thing. Like, when you need to get, like, the traffic, or you don't have anything else working in your car. Until we have, something where, we don't need it anymore, it's always going to be around. But podcasts can jump it. And it's not one of those necessity things. It already has. Don't get me wrong. Podcasts are way, way, way farther ahead of radio in terms of scope and, influence. But radio still thinks that they're carrying this big stick when they're not. But we still want to get into it. Like there's still that cachet. There's still that, and it's radio. I mean, come on, Andrew.
Yeah.
Like, it's not TV. Like, it's not.
To be
think
fair,
about, like,
to be fair though, look at every guy in this group. Do you think any one of us would survive on TV?
We all
No.
have the face for radio.
Exactly.
See, at this point, yeah, fine, you can have a face for radio. That's great. But if your body's for OnlyFans, you're gonna make way more fucking money. Like, it's just, that's how it is. Like, if you can sell the other shit, now you can sell the other shit, which is great. And nothing has to be forced to the radio scope. Like, everything about having to be good on radio is that you had to be, willing to take less money, work more hours, and, basically just take constant fucking abuse. If you're cool with that shit, you're good. No, like, and you also had to, be talented at something. And talented at more than one thing. When I started, there was dudes who, only did one thing. Okay? Like, or they were the voice guys who said what the writer guys said. Like, now the host writes, produces, edits. Like, all those guys that do that are still around. The guys that can't are doing other things. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to, like, the fact that there's still that draw to radio is infuriating, but it's still there, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, like, once you kind of have that bug, it's tough to let it go. It's it's
Right.
almost like an actor saying, like, once I caught the acting bug, I have to do this. But
Yeah, I know.
I mean, your passion is your passion, right? I mean, like, I'm a musician, so deep in my heart of hearts, that's really what I want to do most is to be a musician. But, like, everybody has their thing, So that's for you guys. It's radio, and you're not going to give it up no matter what, basically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
To be fair, I've kind of given it up to an extent because, like, the kind of thing that kind of like threw the water on me, so to speak, was I saw an ad. They were looking for somebody. It was in the Phoenix market, morning show time. I think it was like, was it like 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. or something like that? You get paid for promotions, all that shit, and like,
Yeah.
you have to have experience from, top 10 market. I'm like, fuck, I got experience in Boston. That's a top 10 market. Hell yeah. They're like, we're going to pay you $10 an hour.
Uh-huh. Welcome to Phoenix.
Yeah.
You're gonna do something with Topaz. Seems
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, no, dude, like, I did that same thing, man. I left. I went cross country. I went out to LA, and, this was before I came back to ZLX and got the full-time job. Like, I was in the same boat that Andrew was in, where they basically force you out. They say, we're gonna treat you as bad as we possibly can until you want to quit and you break, okay? Because that's the whole goal of radio is that they act like you have to want to be here. And
Jesus Christ, it really is like wrestling.
yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah.
You have to be, and we, me and Andrew used to spend time and making all the comparisons to wrestling, within this situation that we were in.
Yeah.
Like, and we used to have, like, all these great wrestlers that came in, and I'll never forget when CM Punk came in, and he came into our room, like, into the little green room, and he goes, it's bad when I think that the environment here sucks. And I remember Billy basically orgasming on the spot, like, just losing his shit, and it was true. I mean, like, it was that bad. It was, it was just this constant doom and gloom kind of thing. Not to go back to this, but, like, it's so much better with where you guys are at, and the fact that you guys can be more creative and do, like, podcasts just about fucking anything, and there's much more freedom. Like, we were talking about the big difference between 2014 and now, and how far we've come. I mean, think about 2014, okay? Just for a minute, Andrew. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. 7 years ago.
No, but it seemed a lot better.
Okay. Do you remember 2014? Okay, I know we have the pandemic and everything. 2014 had Justin Bieber at the height of his powers.
I'd consider that a pandemic as well.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is that things were so different back then in the sense of, okay, so what's happened in 2014? Okay, if I'm going by my headspace, Obama's going into his second term, right?
I think so. Yeah.
No, wait.
Oh
No.
he's 2 years into his second term.
2 years into his second term. That's
Yeah.
right. Like, okay. So he's going into that, and then we know at that point in 2014, we've had 6 years of relative normalcy, if you can call it that, in government. And we, in 2014, imagine, and I think about this all the time, and not to switch gears, but Andrew, what would we have done with Trump?
Honestly,
because one, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And two, like, think about how we would have handled that.
God, yeah, you're right. We pretty much would not have been able to touch it for two reasons. Number one, the program director, that's not funny. That's not funny. And then number two, the fucking fan base. Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
don't like
the
look.
fan base of ZLX is conservative. Really? Wow. Holy shit! I wouldn't have guessed that, honestly.
Oh, go look at their Facebook. Look in the comments.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Just oh, dude, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's going on. Oh, I know exactly what's going on over there in the sense of, like, that this is something that would skip, like this is something that major radio would miss. But they haven't turned off the comments on their Facebook posts. And if you want to see some ignorant shit, this isn't their fans' fault. Okay, this is the fact that some web guy, the one guy that's overloaded with doing all the websites for the Boston market, okay, forgot to click off the can comment on anything on Facebook, because you need to turn that shit off.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you just need to. But if you go, and it's still up to this day. Like, I've written, like, and the talent is all aware of what's going on with that, and they don't even go near it because they want to have plausible deniability. But if you go look on their Facebook posts, and it could be about some random ass shit, like, it'd be like, "Hey, Toto's getting back together," and you go into like the fucking comments, and there is just some racist assholes just going back and forth. Toto, didn't they do Africa? How dare they? Like, it's just, they're just like,
Bruce, you're laughing like he's kidding. He's not.
Oh, I'm sure he's not kidding. I'm just surprised. I really am.
If anything, he's underplaying it.
I am. Trust me, I could have said what they really said. All right,
Oh,
and I didn't.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
like, because I ain't doing that. Like, we don't work that blue. Like that.
I guess it's just surprising to me because, like, you would think, like, a rock station, like, a lot of rock is like very liberal leaning, isn't it?
No.
This is just in nature, but apparently not.
No.
Depending on the band, no.
No, dude. Like, you got to look at the demographics. If it's male, oh no, it's conservative. Okay, that's the first thing. If it's male, it's conservative. All right.
That's interesting.
You like to think that there's a lot of liberal males out there. There are plenty. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But no, conservative males. Males are like, and we break it down into demographics for our show of, like, guys that were 35 to 54, owned at least two cars, one being a pickup, making anywhere between, at that time it was $25,000 and $75,000 to $85,000 a year. It was, and they had to be from, it was a total of 45 towns. Towns, not counties. Towns. Everybody else didn't matter. Because they knew if they hooked even 10, 15% of these people, okay? These were the guys that listened to radio. These were the guys that listened to classic rock radio. These were guys that would basically put their kids through college because they were that dependable. So getting, and it, like, I'm sure Andrew has had this conversation, and I don't want to rehash anything, but the way that they do ratings and how they figure out who gets paid what and, like, who's successful and who's not is so rigged and bullshit that, it's outdated. It was outdated, when I started. But, the whole justifiable situation for millions and billions and trillions of dollars at this point, is based on 4 or 5 people. In
That's
your
crazy.
listening area.
That's
like,
crazy.
What they do determines all of this. Like it's that small of a